President Trump thus warrants impeachment and trial, removal from office, and disqualification to hold and enjoy any office of honor, trust, or profit under the United States.
Ahead of tonight's deadline, the House Judiciary Committee also released new documents showing frequent contact between an associate of Rudy Giuliani, Lev Parnas, and Derek Harvey, an aide to Congressman Devin Nunes. Nunes was the ranking Republican at last year's House impeachment hearings and a vocal supporter of the president's.
Nothing we have heard establishes a claim that the president acted improperly in his dealings with Ukraine.
I was in shock when I was watching the hearings and when I saw Devin Nunes sitting up there.
Parnas, now under indictment for campaign finance violations, told MSNBC Nunes was fully aware of the effort to push Ukraine to dig up dirt on the Bidens.
That's scary because, you know, he was sitting there and making all these statements and all that when he knew very well that he knew what was going on.
President Trump has beefed up his legal team ahead of next week's trial, adding former independent counsel Ken Starr and former Harvard law professor Alan Dershowitz to his defense team.
I'm an advocate, not a witness, and I'm advocating against impeachment.
The odds are stacked against the Democrats in the Senate, where Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has yet to detail rules for the trial. Republicans control more than half the seats. Unless 4 Republicans break ranks, there may not even be any additional witnesses.
Yeah, I'd like to see these witnesses, these documents, and the ability of both House and the president's lawyers to cross-examine whatever witnesses that we've got.
Tonight, just a short while ago, the president's lawyers filed their first formal response to the 2 articles of impeachment, a 6-page letter forcefully denying the charges as unconstitutional and calling the effort to remove Trump dangerous. Tom?
David Wright with that new development tonight. David, thank you. And this programming note, tomorrow morning on This Week, George speaks exclusively with lead House impeachment manager Adam Schiff and attorney Alan Dershowitz of the president's defense team. And the Senate impeachment trial causing an unexpected scramble for Democratic senators in the 2020 presidential race. Their schedules upended in the critical final days before the Iowa caucuses. A New Hampshire primary, of course. Here's ABC's Rachel Scott.
Tonight, a scramble in the Democratic primary. The 4 senators running for president under pressure, knowing that impeachment will largely force them off the trail just 16 days before the first vote in Iowa.
I wish I could be back in New Hampshire and Iowa, but I will be in Washington doing my constitutional duty.
But Sanders will go around the clock to squeeze in campaign stops. On Wednesday, he plans to fulfill his impeachment duty, then charter a plane for a nighttime event in Iowa, then fly straight back to D.C. 1,700 miles in back to D.C. 1,700 miles in just hours. While those senators are sitting as impeachment jurors, their rivals will be taking advantage. Former Vice President Joe Biden plans to spend nearly all his time here, but brushed off the state as a must-win.
Mr. Vice President, how critical is a win in the first 2 contests for your campaign?
Oh, I think just doing well is critical.
No single candidate has been able to consistently top the polls in Iowa. A 4-way race emerging between the frontrunners as the 2 leading progressives, Senator Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, try to put that post-debate flare-up behind them.
I think you called me a liar on national TV.
Senator, what do you want to hear from Senator Bernie Sanders?
I have said all I'm going to say on this. You can keep asking the question, but I'm not going to make an additional comment.
And Tom, the Iowa caucuses have opened up a new additional pathway to get on the debate stage. 41 pledged delegates are up for grabs on caucus night, and the DNC now says that any candidate who is awarded 1 delegate will qualify. Tom?
Rachel Scott with those new debate rules tonight. Rachel, thank you. Next to the violent new images emerging from the Middle East, clashes ramping up between protesters and police near the Parliament building in Beirut, Lebanon. The latest now from ABC's Diane Macedo.
Tonight, protests have turned violent as Lebanese citizens are taking to the streets, demonstrating the country's worst economic crisis in decades. Protesters gathered near the Parliament building in Beirut, hurling rocks and grabbing branches to use against riot police. Along the way, demonstrators also used lasers and shot off fireworks at security officials who cracked down with tear gas, rubber bullets, and water cannons. Fire trucks and ambulances rushed through the streets after the tent encampment housing many of the demonstrators went up in flames. The Lebanese Red Cross says more than 100 people have been treated for injuries, with at least 65 more hospitalized from both sides. The protests, which started in October, were revived this week due to anger over a failing economy. Demonstrators blame the ruling elite for the dire economic situation, citing widespread corruption. The Lebanese president has ordered the country's army and security commanders to restore calm.
Tom, part of the issue is that politicians there haven't agreed to a new cabinet or a new economic plan. The hope now is that they find a way forward and bring an end to this violence. Tom?
Diane, thank you. And here in the U.S., protesters by the thousands showing support for women's rights. Those New York City demonstrators facing snow and freezing temperatures, and hundreds of gatherings around the country like this one in Washington, D.C. And the official apology tonight from the National Archives saying they were wrong to alter this image of the first Women's March back in 2017. Their lobby displayed blurring words on protest signs, including ones critical of President Trump. The agency taking down that censored image tonight, promising an immediate review of exhibit policies and procedures so this, quote, does not happen again. And there's much more ahead on World News Tonight this Saturday. The deadly police shooting, a wild chase ending in gunfire, the entire thing caught on camera. What led to this violent confrontation? Plus, the hunt for a killer, a mother found murdered inside her bed. The new details tonight. And the devastating locust outbreak overseas, the insects swarming by the millions. The UN now warning of a new threat. Stay with us.
Johnson & Johnson is a baby company. But we're also a company that controls HIV, fights cancer, repairs shattered bones, relieves depression, restores heart rhythms, helps you back from strokes, and keeps you healthy your whole life. From the day you're born, we never stop taking care of you.
With Advil Liquid Gels, you have fast-acting power over pain. So the whole world looks different. The unbeatable strength and speed of Advil Liquid Gels.
What pain?
I used to be a little cranky. Dealing with our finances really haunted me. Thankfully, I've got QuickBooks, and the live bookkeeper is helping customize it for our business.
You're all set up.
Great!
Get set up right with a live bookkeeper with Intuit QuickBooks.
Managing type 2 diabetes? Dimitri's on it. Eating right and getting those steps in?
On it.
Dimitri thinks he's doing all he can to manage his type 2 diabetes and heart disease. But is his treatment doing enough to lower his heart risk?
Sorry.
Maybe not. Jardiance can reduce the risk of cardiovascular death for adults who also have known heart disease, so it could help save your life from a heart attack or stroke. And it lowers A1C.
Jardiance can cause serious side effects, including dehydration, genital yeast or urinary tract infections, and sudden kidney problems. Ketoacidosis is a serious side effect that may be fatal. A rare but life-threatening bacterial infection in the skin of the perineum could occur. Stop taking Jardiance and call your doctor right away if you have symptoms of this bacterial infection, ketoacidosis, or an allergic reaction. Do not take Jardiance if you are on dialysis or have severe kidney problems. Taking Jardiance with a sulfonylurea or insulin may cause low blood sugar.
Lower A1C and lower risk of a fatal heart attack?
On it. With Jardiance.
Ask your doctor about Jardiance.
Back now with a wild police chase and deadly confrontation. Here's ABC's Mona Kosar Abdi.
Tonight, newly released body cam video shows the final moments before a Connecticut state trooper fired a series of shots that killed a 19-year-old man. The dramatic scene unfolding Wednesday after police say Mubarak Suleiman stole a rideshare car at knife point outside an AT&T store in Norwalk. Suleiman then leading police on an erratic chase in this white sedan. The chase ending after a collision in this underpass.
Get out of the car!
Troopers with guns drawn. One trooper asking another to deploy his taser.
Jackson, go to taser!
Seconds later, the trooper on the driver's side fires 7 shots, hitting Suleiman.
He's got a knife! Drop the knife!
Suleiman's grieving family says the 19-year-old struggled with mental health issues, but had never been violent.
I'm deeply saddened. I'm hurt. I don't know how to cope right now.
After watching the footage, they say Suleiman never stood a chance.
It just looked like a cold-blooded murder.
And tonight, the case has been handed over to the Division of Criminal Justice, taking it out of the hands of state police after community complaints. Tom?
Mona, thank you. And when we come back, Odell off the hook, why police decided to drop charges against the NFL star after he put his hands on a security officer, and the serial bank robber getting attention for his unique disguise. The FBI now hoping to catch him before he strikes again.